Last week, we talked about the controversial suspension of a Washington Post reporter for a tweet some considered ill-timed. Now, another prominent Post reporter is complaining of heavy-handed treatment over his tweets, raising questions of whether there's a larger issue at the Post. To recap, Washington Post reporter Felicia Sonmez was suspended by editor Marty Barron last week over this tweet in the hours after Kobe Bryant's death. It linked to an article detailing the 2003 rape allegations against the NBA superstar. Barron told Sonmez the tweet showed lack of judgment and she was hurting this institution. But Sonmez was quickly reinstated after the newsroom protested that she didn't violate any specific policies. Now the Daily Beast says Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter Wesley Lowery also had a run-in with Barron over tweets last year blasting the New York Times. How could the Times profile the Tea Party, he wrote, and not mention it was a hysterical grassroots tantrum about the fact that a black guy was president? Barron reportedly told Lowery he was making political statements and threatened to fire him if he didn't tone it down. Lowery refused to comment to the Daily Beast but later tweeted, "Reporters of color shouldn't have their jobs threatened for speaking out about mainstream media failures to properly cover and contextualize issues of race." We should also say that Wesley Lowery is now leaving the Post and going to CBS and a couple other things. But at the risk of sounding like a management toady, I thought Marty Barron was exactly right. I know you disagreed with me last week about Felicia Sonmez, but they were both political statements. Felicia Sonmez tweeting that out before she knew for herself that Kobe Bryant was dead, and making a comment about, unless he's the media critic for the Washington Post, criticizing the way somebody characterizes the Tea Party is not your job. It's a political statement.
You know, news organizations have been in the torments of what to do about their social media policy ever since social media became a thing. And I think I at least half agreed with you on Felicia Sonmez. With Wesley Lowery, you know, I mean, I remember the tweet at the time, and a lot of people were very supportive of Lowery, and I think I was too. But in retrospect, you look at it now and you say, this isn't, for somebody who is not paid to give his opinions, this is too much in the opinionating. Threatening him with being fired, that seems a bit much.
It is striking that, how long has Twitter been around now? Quite a while. And so
too long.
Okay, so, and they still don't have firm, clearly disseminated and understood policies? Or, well, that seemed to be what Barron backed down on after other Post reporters complained. Having said that, I agree with you, Emily. They have an absolute right to expect that in your public, this is not a question of who you're voting for. In the privacy of the voting booth. This is your public statements on Twitter feeds that bear the Post logo. I think he has an absolute right to draw a line there.
Well, you know, the newsrooms have a problem, and the problem is that they want it both ways with social media. They want the reporters to become stars, and Wesley Lowery, who's an excellent reporter, has also become a social media star in his own right by having a personality on social media and by posting. You know, how do you get attention on social media? You post provocative things. On the other hand, the newsrooms also want the institution to have integrity and for the reporters to stay in their reporting lane. And you can't have it both ways. I agree with you guys. Like I think as a reporter, you know, just like you can't put a yard sign for a politician in your yard, you have an obligation to maybe, you know, control your social media output. And I think, you know, the problem is the message gets really muddied when it comes to, you know, administrations of newsrooms telling their staffs what to do.
And I completely agree with you, and I'll add one more thing. The difficulty inside a news organization is that there is a process by which you come up with your story, you report your story. It goes through an editing system. You know, there are executive editors, and before it gets out. Here, they want you to do all of this, and you're on your own for the most part. So you have these vague guidelines that they don't even quite understand. And there's no one really editing, unless you self-edit or you have a colleague help you out, there's no one editing. And I think that will make this, you know, this will continue to be a problem unless they establish the social media editor, and you have to send your tweet to someone who will edit it
And in
before it
breaking
goes
news,
out.
that's never going to happen.
You know, I heard an interview once with Amanda Palmer, the musician.
Oh, yeah.
She's married to Neil Gaiman, the writer, and she said that she and her husband, whenever they want to send a tweet, they actually send it to each other first.
that's a good idea.
Good idea.
They bounce off
Even
it.
better, when you're about to send it, delete it.
Right. But why breaking news? In real breaking news, you have to send it through someone, and it works that way, so why not on social
Yeah,
media?
you know why. Getting it first is better
That's
than getting
true.
it right.